Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Monday in the Riven. Boy, do we have a big one today. We got a lot of things to talk about. We've got some veiling of some new information that we've received, and it's going to be a good one today. I think it's going to be a good
Yeah,
way to
I think
start
so
the
too.
week.
And our guest has just arrived, so I'll bring him in a second. But it's very interesting to see. I mean, this weather though's got to go. I mean, this is weather's got to go. I'm so tired of rain every weekend. So, well, we have it. We, as I said, we have a guest, so I'm going to bring him on right now. And there he is, Nelson Vasquez. Hi, Nelson. How are you?
Hello, gentlemen. Every time your music plays, I always have to put the salute up because it feels like paying respect to the generals here, and it's quite an experience with this online stuff. But I'm glad we're here.
Yeah, I'm glad we've been going along so well so far, and we're still fighting the good fight. And at this point, I don't know if Chip or I want to go back to FRC Media. I mean, although it would be nice for them to say, "Hey, it's time to come back," but we have a little more freedom on this show now than we had before, and we don't have people looking over our shoulder, which is always nice. And we don't
And I
have to
just
worry about our First Amendment rights being violated.
and I just want to say before we get started, your show is definitely going to be even more um, informative for the people because Spindle City is now going to be showing more videos as the time goes on. So I'm looking forward to seeing this new chapter with not only with Spindle City, but this new content that's going to be going on for the viewers because it's very important that people hear both sides of an argument or discussion, I should say. It's because when the people hear both sides of a discussion, they're better informed. And when they're better informed, they can make an informed decision. And
I
that's
agree.
why this is so paramount that we get this out there. And again, it's always an honor to be on your show.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. But I know you have a show on tonight, the debut show,
Yes.
and it's at Eric B. Media, and I want everybody to watch because you'll see some information. As you said, Nelson, listen, we put out the information. We have evidence. Other people just talk. They have no evidence, and but then they get upset because they say, "Oh, well, they're being attacked." Look, you can say anything you want. See, that's the great thing, as you said. And whether you call it an argument and information or it's all semantics. The reality is, listen, we get to say whatever we want in this country, or at least we're supposed to in this country. And that's one of the reasons that I would go back to Bristol Community College for one show to tell everybody I'm really sorry we can't be aired on this thing at 5 o'clock and a re-air for the people who don't have the ability to get on YouTube. But I will not go back to that fascist institution that stripped us strictly because they croaked to political pressure. But with that being said, let's get right down to the nitty gritty about some things that has broken that we found over the weekend, and one of them was it goes back to that Maplewood meeting that they were talking about. We've got further information on this, which is really really startling. Well, I guess it's startling to some people, but to us it's not because we know that I'm unveiling a new nickname for Paulie. It's Cover Up Coogan. Well, apparently, from the information we've had, there's been a cover up about the crime problem, a knowing cover up, something that they were well aware of. Now, we just thought, well, I didn't. We all knew that Paul was doing it intentionally, pretending, listen, we'll just pretend it doesn't exist. And everybody will think it doesn't exist, even if we got bullet holes. And as long as it's not flying in their neighborhood, they're not going to care. Well, at that meeting, two state police officers, one captain and one lieutenant, said that Fall River was a high crime area. We have a lot of problems with crime. And, and amazingly, he said that the state police ran an operation in conjunction with the Fall River PD called Operation Trident. Don't you think that the public should have known? I don't say before the operation to tip off the criminals, but after that operation, don't you think that our police chief and our mayor should have said, we've had the state police come in and help us? But they didn't say that. And why didn't they say that? Because if they said that, they would have to admit that we got a crime problem in the city of Fall River. They also said we're getting 3 to 4 car thefts a day, but we don't have a crime problem. And even the Fall River police officer, and as you said in your weekend flush, CJ, Cover Up Coogan turned red as a tomato and was very upset when the truth was spoken by the state police. And now, before I turn it over to you guys, another issue that we found out. It is alleged that that video of Paul acting like a thug to a woman collecting for a dance studio or whatever she was collecting for was edited.
Oh, wow.
We were told that if you looked at the entire video, that he was using the F-bombs, swearing at that woman. The F-bomb all over the place. That got, mysteriously, that disappeared. That's an allegation. However, I will remind all the citizens of Fall River, do you remember the individual who had a problem with a Fall River police officer that had something on his phone? And it was in the police evidence locker, and mysteriously that phone was erased. It was bleached. Just the only people that can do that are Hillary Clinton and Cover Up Coogan. Because these are the things that the man who ran on transparency he's been covering up since the day he got into office. Whether it's Malone, whether it's Perry, whether it's all the other machinations we have going on in this city, Cover Up Coogan is hiding everything. And when you don't tell the truth about crime to the people of your city, to me, that's a crime. Now you guys can take it over, because that's my rant.
And that is, so an edited video of the man who, what we were shown was, mellow, but F-bombs here and there, look, again, he is the type to downplay, when it comes to crime, he is the type to downplay the severity of the crime. Speaking of editing videos, the video that we're going to show everyone today is the watered down, shorter edited video to not only show that he is full of crap, but there will be stats to disprove everything that man said when he did that interview. And for me to hear this for the first time, that the state police had to assist our police department in an operation, that people ought to be so pissed off and demand answers. But pretty soon, with the car thefts, that will be shown during my show as well, and a host of other things. And I just cannot believe that to hear an operation take place. I want to know what kind of operation took place. We deserve to know what the hell is going on, because to my recollection, they received a new police contract. It's just the people deserve answers, and we're not getting it. But I'm looking forward to see, what the excuse is going to be. But again, he says there's no crime. Well, pretty soon we're going to see that he's full of crap. Get ready.
Shall we bring forward your video, Nelson?
Yes, without further ado, this is the video that I put together, and it's scathing. It's scathing, but it's factual. So without further ado, CJ, take it away.
Attractive, and they're being supported, and that's what we're going to do. Crime, I was looking at the FBI statistics. If you want to compare crime by the numbers, crime is not in a bad place in Fall River right now compared to where we were in 2014, 2015. The numbers were higher. We're going in the right direction.
Some breaking news out of Fall River where police are investigating a shooting.
It happened on America Street this afternoon. We're still waiting for more details from police, but we want to get right out to 12 News reporter Amanda Pitts, who just spoke to a resident there. Amanda, what can you tell us right now?
Well, Mike Shannon, this shooting happened in broad daylight here in Fall River around 3 o'clock this afternoon. I just spoke to a resident who said this all happened outside of his house. That man told me that he heard 3 gunshots. His son upstairs looked outside the window and saw a man with several gunshot wounds to his chest and abdomen. Their security cameras caught it all, and he said it shows a man running up on the victim and shooting him point blank, then taking off. This all happened on America Street in Fall River. Police had a portion of the street closed off with crime scene tape for more than an hour as they investigated. During that time, we saw detectives speaking to neighbors and collecting evidence. Police did clear the scene around 4:15 this afternoon. And again, police at this time only confirming that they are investigating a shooting. We are still awaiting some more details from them. We'll bring them to you live on air and online as we learn them.
Sheena, Fall River police say a woman was shot here in the area of Dwelly and South Main Streets around 1 a.m. And now police are investigating to find out exactly what happened early this morning. A 31-year-old woman is injured after an early morning shooting Sunday in a Fall River neighborhood. According to Fall River police, officers received several reports of shots fired in the area of Dwelly and South Main Streets around 1 a.m. Police then learned that a gunshot victim had just entered the emergency department of St. Anne's Hospital. When an officer arrived at St. Anne's, police say he found a white Jeep with what appeared to be multiple holes on the driver's side. And inside the hospital, a 31-year-old Fall River woman who had been shot in the leg. Fall River police say her injuries are not life-threatening. Police say this is an active investigation. We tried asking police for more information, but have not heard much else. There's no word of a suspect as of right now. Reporting live in Fall River, Lauren Brill, 12 News.
Well, there you go. So let's break that down for a second. There's back in 2021, a new national crime reporting system went into effect. NIBRS, the National Incident-Based Reporting System. All departments have to report their figures to the federal government because the federal government wanted to get all categories of crime, to get a more detailed description of everything that takes place in the city when it comes to crime. And I will show that in full detail. The first image you witnessed, that data predicted that Springfield would remain the top heading into 23. And then the second piece of information, a year later, we surpassed Springfield as the most dangerous city in Massachusetts. So, Paul, this is your direction that you're taking us. You are the one in charge. And if the chief of police tries to downplay this information that you have to give to the federal government every single year, so does every single department, The people ought to just stop you in your tracks and just say, enough with the bullshit, because we are the most dangerous city in Massachusetts. And to see a mayor downplay the severity and say that crime is better today than it was back in 2014, I will disprove that too. Because I will show, I will show again that you just cannot get away with saying something like that and just let it be. But that's the watered down version, and I can't wait to show the full version. But that's, I mean, you cannot deny the statistics. We're number one.
Well,
That's what we always are. Number one. I want to thank WPRI TV 12 News for those video clips. Got to give credit where credit is due to make sure that nobody screams about copyright violations. So thank you very much, WPRI TV 12, and we'll always be sure to recognize people and organizations when we use their information. So we're going to take this over to Chip now.
Okay, great work. That these things will get better. I know there was a lot of buffering and stuff, but these are works in progress. We don't have millions of dollars. But let's get back down to the bottom line. Paul intentionally lied. 2014, they're better today than 2014. You just showed the data. We were number one. And at that Maplewood meeting, they said there were 55 shootings since January. 55 shootings. 55. How many were there in 2014? In the entire year? Less than 10? You're lying, Paul. I was going to show the picture of Kuganokio today. But his nose isn't big enough in that picture. We got to work on that to get him a bigger nose. But this is lying to the public about their safety. This is malfeasance on the part of a public official. Paul knows it, and he's lying to you, the people of Fall River. And his police chief knows it. Is he saying the state police are lying now? They blame the other people are all fudging their numbers. The only people fudging their numbers is the city of Fall River. I'm going to show you something. I did pull this because, like I said, Kuganokio's nose is just too small to do his lying, cover-up Coogan justice. Here we go. What's that say? Crime down, Jaisal Correa. Crime down, Sam Sutter when he was the mayor. Everybody reduced crime. Paul takes over, we become number one in the state, and he lies about it. He's done the same thing for affordable housing. He's done the same thing with our budget. He's nothing more than a liar who works for the cabal. He works for the people who are getting rich, and he doesn't care about you because he's out of here when he's no longer mayor, and let's make that happen in November. So back to you guys.
Interestingly enough, I mean, you're talking about 6 gunshots a month. That's almost 6 gunshots a month as of right now. Okay, and we don't know how many more gunshots there have been this month, but that's about 6. That gives you 54, and they said 55 gunshots since January. So we're in the ballpark. 6 and 1/12, whatever. But it's important to realize that Paul said very clearly that there aren't shootings all over the city. Just because there's gunshots in your house doesn't mean there's gunshots all over the city. There's 55. That's a pretty good number. Just because there's not gunshots in your house, Paul, doesn't mean there aren't gunshots all over the city. Okay, remember that. And is that your house? We don't know.
It's when you take everything in, you have to smile to hide the human toll that that's taking place. You know, people are afraid to go out of their homes. Right? This is not utopia. Like, this is crime. People are getting shot. People are getting killed. Let's not forget about the homicides that took place in the Flint, 2 in 10 months when it was reported, to my recollection. This ain't no game no more. And I do recall, Chip, that you said that when Sam spoke, when it was time to speak, he laid it out in two choices. He said, if you want more violent crime, more car thefts, more shootings, you vote for Paul Coogan. But if you want to see Fall River head into the right direction in reducing crime with violent crime, shootings, and car thefts, you vote for Sam Sutter. It's like our safety is at stake here. There is no denying it. No denying it. And again, to see somebody downplay the severity of the situation, it takes other police officers, the state police, to put the reality where it needs to be. I'm lost for words. I'm really lost for words here, because it's just, you cannot downplay this stuff, man. And for him to still say we're a safe city, don't worry about nothing, he needs to resign, because that's a dereliction of your duty, Paul, and you know it.
Well, now, let me tell you. You know something? You should go jump in the Taunton River. We should all go jump in the Taunton River. Because if you don't say Paul's telling the truth, even though he's lying, you started that video with him saying that crime is better. We're moving. We're moving on up. And it's a lie. It's a lie. The national crime statistics show it. The state police, the local police officers said this city has got a lot of crime, and Paul turned purple. He's been exposed. But the problem that we have is that this is a serious issue, as you say, because people are unsafe. They're now using shotguns to hold up stores. Shotguns to hold up stores. So you don't think it's getting worse, Paul? Get your head out of your rectum. But it's not really there. You're fully aware of it. Your eyes are wide open. Wide open. And you know what you're looking at? Your bank account and your friends' bank accounts that's growing. While the people of Fall River, you're killing them. You're spending all the opera money on stuff you want. You're not doing a damn thing of housing. You're not doing anything to hold taxes. You're not doing anything about anything that directly affects the people of Fall River, the regular people. Not your rich developer friends, your rich lawyer friends, your rich banker friends. And crime that affects everybody regardless of economic standing, is probably at an all-time high in the city of Fall River. And you have the temerity, the audacity, the unmitigated gall to look people in the eye and lie to them. Either that, or you are the dumbest human being that ever occupied the 6th floor. You don't know what's going on? You do, because you ignore it. Because when a citizen told you had a bullet hole in his house, your response was, well, not everybody's got a bullet hole. Is that what we're going to wait for till you acknowledge crime? Do the state police have to come here and tell us that this city is a war zone? Do the state police have to come in and enter into a joint operation to give us a hand because it's so bad? But not a peep from you. Not a peep from your appointed police chief. That is a dereliction of duty by both of you. And it's malfeasance. You are jeopardizing lives in the city of Fall River with your attitude that nothing matters except people getting rich. And back to you guys.
I couldn't have said it any better. Any better. This issue is only going to get worse because they're not going to do what needs to be done. Now, also keep in mind, I will also bring forward information tonight that Paul Coogan, in my opinion, based on my research with the ARPA money, he owes the city council money. And I'm going to get into that because I'm just going to say that he asked the city council for a certain amount of money, and then when the city council appropriated that money, he spent it to something else. And I believe the city council ought to hold him accountable. I'm gonna get into everything tonight, everything. But back to this: shotguns at South Coast Marketplace. Nowhere is immune of violence. Just because Fall River talks about it doesn't mean no one else is talking about it. I can assure you, other places are doing what they can to reduce crime as much as possible. No one is saying to entirely solve crime, because you can never do that. But as a city, as a police department, you're supposed to make sure that you set initiatives, goals every single year to reduce crime as much as possible. And for that man to go in front of a camera and to tell all of you, don't worry about it, you don't have to duck bullets. Well, guess what? And you really think people are going to come down here and stay here? Do you really think they're going to come down here and stay here when they hear gunshots out of their windows? Last summer, I believe it was like around June or July, there was gunshots right outside my living room window. I literally had to duck as fast as I could because I didn't want to get hit. This ain't a game no more. This is not no game. And that man needs to be held, have his feet held to the fire, because you do not play with people's safety. You don't say for political purposes that none of you have nothing to worry about. To me, it is absurd. And since they like to talk about Jazel, at least Jazel had the opportunity to hold a newspaper, a front page that said crime down. Mayor Flanagan had the opportunity to show the milestone. And what's the milestone for Paul Coogan? Fall River jumping from number 7 to number 1 in a very quick fashion. Not only that, the rents have seen the biggest jump in a short amount of time, because this city is hell-bent on providing the wrong supply to meet the actual demand that's going on right now. Because the zoning board of Paul Coogan has struck again with what they put through. If this does not get the people out of their ass, to get their asses up to the voting booths, I can only imagine what the next 2 years of Paul Coogan is going to be, because he will tax you even more. He will make you pay more on a debt that he brought to this community. More of the same. Bullets flying, everyone dodging. We need to reverse course from this path that we're on. It's only going to get worse. It is only going to get worse. To have a man not take into account, to not even bother to care, to tell you the truth, even if it damages him politically, shows he doesn't need to be the mayor of Fall River. He needs to hit the highway and don't look back, because when that ARPA money's gone, all his spending is going to come to light. More crime stats is going to be even worse. And then whenever we get a new mayor, I feel bad for the next one, whenever that time comes, because for the first term, he or she, I should say that to be respectful out there, is going to have to take the first term of cleaning up all his mess with the spending in the budget. All of it. So the next administration is going to be literally stuck cleaning up that mess. Again, Michelle Dion, she said it best during her interview. She understands it. She said, when you take a vote today, you're not just taking a vote for today. It's going to affect the future of the city. Okay? She doesn't think just in the present. She thinks in the future. again, I want to know what the city council is going to say when they see for the first time that he asked for money and spent it somewhere else. You can't do that. When you ask for money, you have to spend it for that specific purpose. So look, this city, I have never seen stuff like this before. I've never seen someone in his position to downplay crime. Okay, crime. I mean, what is it going to take? Another homicide? What is it going to take for that man to go in front of the camera and do his fucking job? Excuse my language. That's the passion. Enough's enough already. I'm tired of seeing my city in the headlines with crime like this. People are literally going into our neighborhoods, putting a gun like that and shooting in our neighborhoods, and not even giving a damn. So, again, people, get your asses up, get to the polls, vote him out.
Okay, just let me quickly respond. I just saw a post, and I actually could read it for a little time. And, you know, crime is everywhere, not just Fall River, but Fall River wasn't number one. Obviously, we know where your leanings are, and every mayor cleans up for a previous mayor. That's true. Okay, I'll give you that. You know why? Because no mayor has ever had the balls to do a forensic audit and throw all the political ticks that they hired out in the street. And we got to keep replacing mayors until we get one who does that. I cannot believe you're actually trying to use that excuse. Everybody has crime. That's right. And that's what they said in New York City till Giuliani took over and made it one of the safest cities in the country. The largest city in the country became one of the safest cities in the country. We should not be number one in crime. We should be nowhere near the top 10 in crime if we were doing our job and our priorities was something other than making all our friends rich. And what's going to happen to this city because of Paul Coogan? When they begin to go into one of the best examples of something that's running well, that mall that Sutter brought in with Market Basket. How long are those occupants going to stay in that mall if we begin to have shotgun holdups? What's the next thing? Somebody's going to get shot at the PetSmart? And how long will that mall stay viable if this city because once you ignore crime, which Paul is doing, because you can say crime is everywhere, but in most places they don't ignore it. And in the places that they do, it gets worse, i.e. Chicago, i.e. Seattle, i.e. Portland, Oregon. Everywhere they try to minimize the impact of crime and make it a priority, it gets worse. And if anything, Paul Coogan is the only mayor in recent history who hasn't even attempted to reduce crime. As Nelson said, Jaisal Correa held up a newspaper. Flanagan reduced crime. They all made an effort to reduce crime. Nobody can eliminate it, but they all made an effort. Paul Coogan has done nothing. And that mall will not remain viable if we begin to have holdups with shotguns in the middle of the mall. Because look what happened to San Francisco. All the major stores, the $1 Million Mile in Chicago, which was unbelievable. I have pictures of it. I've gone to Chicago a few times. It was a great city. It's all boarded up. All those stores are gone because of the crime. You let this go unaddressed. Please, don't try to cover. This guy's done nothing. Nothing at all. He hasn't even addressed it. As a matter of fact, he's lied about it. He said there's no problem. So with that, you guys can take it away.
And I just want to say real quick as we we're approaching the end of the show. You see, that seems to be the cop-out argument is that, well, crime's everywhere. Well, guess what? When you Google safe cities in America, they do exist. Now, how is that? You know, they want to make it seem like crime is bad everywhere in the country and there's no safe city in America. At the end of the day, this is about responsibility, taking responsibility and be real with the people. That's it. Be real with the people. Don't downplay the severity of crime. And when people hear that, hold their feet to the fire. When you have the state police saying it, giving us the reality, that's all we need to know. Because the state police, you know, they're gonna tell it like how it is. And to my recollection, Paul went out of there so pissed off because the truth came out. So again, you know, safe cities in America, they do exist. Google it. Again, you cannot reduce crime in its entirety. You can't do that. It will never happen. But it is your goal to go in front of the camera and to send a message that everything is going to stop now. And then you make efforts every year to reduce crime as much as possible. Because I can assure you, the people that want to do harm, the people that want to go into your cars every night, not giving a damn, they want to go in there, stick up shopping places, they're not going to stop until a new united front that puts a message to reduce this crime as much as possible. Because you want to know something? When you put out a message like that, it builds up morale with our police department. Because if no one at the top is going to set the right message, well, guess what? Our fine officers, they're not going to be too comfortable wanting to stay here much longer, regardless of the money. It's all about setting an example. And when you lie to the community and you downplay the severity, it's a dereliction of duty. So I look forward to seeing everyone tonight, and it's going to be a good show. But, you know, the stuff that came out just now this morning is a big concern. Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you, Nelson, for coming on the show and sharing your video with us and trying to inform the community. I know there's some people out there which believe that the crime is targeted and it's not as widespread as some people believe. And I don't know if they're supporting Mayor Coogan or if that's just their belief. I do believe that some of the crime is targeted. Don't get me wrong. But the crime of holdup at Ulta isn't targeted. That's a crime. Okay? The crimes of shooting at somebody's house is a crime. Okay? Especially when the shootings are at somebody else, but the bullets go through your house. Those are the crimes. Okay? And you know, somebody like Bernadette here is saying Fall River is not unsafe. I can tell you now from the videos I've seen and from the people that I've spoken to, they believe Fall River is unsafe. We saw on Granite Street where that elderly person was attacked and beaten. We saw that. We saw the video. Okay? That was somebody who hasn't done anything. That wasn't targeted. That was at will. That was an attack.
I'm having trouble with my mic. Listen, stop it, please. Stop dignifying these excuses and these deflections. Crime is crime. Crime is targeted? Well, you know, crime is targeted, it's still crime, and it spills over into neighborhoods. It's been proven. This is Coogan's con job. Cover up Coogan. Oh, it only happens in certain neighborhoods. So what are you saying? You're saying exactly what Paul did. You know, you live in public housing, you don't deserve to speak. You don't own a house, it doesn't happen in the Highlands. Well, it will ultimately happen in the Highlands. You're not supposed to have crime in any way, shape, or form. To try to minimize it with some inane argument that I think Fall River's safe. Well, I'll tell you what, move to Corky Row. Move to Corky Row and walk around on the streets at night and tell me if you feel safe. Okay? Because you're one of the people that'll go to the city council and say you don't like it, move out of the city. That's what you want everybody to do. Because you think a whole bunch of yuppies are going to come down and this entire city's going to turn into the North End. Well, it's not. It's not going to happen. Because the yuppies will never come down here. Because you don't think that they know that this city's full of crime? You don't think these reporters are reporting on the crime? You don't think that people know state cops who tell them Fall River's a war zone? And it doesn't matter where it starts, because it did that in Atlanta. And now it's spilling over into Buckhead, which is the richest part of Atlanta. Crime always spills out ultimately when it goes unaddressed. And people who try to say, well, if it doesn't affect me, it doesn't exist. But you're the same kind of people that when the illegals show up in Martha's Vineyard, you say, get them out of here. We said we want them, but we don't want them. Put them in somebody else's backyard. As long as crime doesn't happen to me, I don't care about the rest of the people in Fall River. So that's insensitive. And I don't care whether you think it's not insensitive or not. I do. And that's my opinion. So this is BS. That may even be the amoeba under a false name. I don't know.
I wouldn't doubt it.
But
I wouldn't doubt it.
What? I'm tired of listening to these bullshit arguments. Accepting number one in crime, no matter where it happens in the city of Fall River, is ridiculous. And to try to explain it away with this bullshit arguments is just that. It's bullshit.
Well, it doesn't take away the fact. Whatever they say, this is the problem here. And this is why they get upset and they try to throw something to make it stick. It doesn't matter what they say, the ones who want to downplay crime. I showed you. Heading into this year, we're number one. What does that say? We are unsafe. It doesn't matter what they say. The naysayers that want to detract from the truth, you cannot run away from the facts. And the facts is we're number one. We're number one. And this is the direction that Paul thinks, that's feasible. That's great. That's for him. That's his mindset. But they can try, but you cannot deny what was shown today. Period.
Well, I want to wrap it up here. I want to thank everyone for coming to the show. I want to thank the people who have commented. I'm sorry I couldn't get all those comments up, but remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Wednesday, and I hope you have a good day. Try to dodge the raindrops, please.